Daniel, it's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk with you. And first, set the stage for us. So tell us a little bit about your family, your spouse, your kids, where you live, all the stuff on the Daniels.
All right. We are in Thornton, which is a suburb just north of Denver in Colorado. And so we are big outdoor people. We are a military family, but later in life, super weird story. I won't go into that, but my husband enlisted at 39, which
Wow.
is literally the very oldest that you can be and enlist. And so we moved out here. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because, like I told you, I locked my door so that it would be quiet in here, and my kids are trying to pound it down. So you might have a little bit of something come in.
This is mom life. I like it. This is real.
It is. And so we have been in Florida, Tennessee. Most recently, we lived in a camper for 6 months in California.
Wow.
We are back to Denver in the mountains. Our kids range from ages almost one, all the way up to 16. And I'm a homeschool mom, so we are just living an outdoor, fun, adventure life. For the first time in about 4 years, we have actually put some roots down and plan on staying in this house for a while. So it's exciting.
That's so
It's
awesome.
good stuff.
And I will tell you, homeschool moms rule the world. I believe this. It's like the Illuminati. It's like, you don't know, but they're pulling the strings, right? Homeschool moms are pulling the strings.
You're nice. I don't know. We're trying over here. Some days are harder than others. I will say that teaching a child how to read might be the most sanctifying work I've ever done in my life.
You're much braver than I am. Goodness gracious. All right. I want to dive into I want to hear a story, and this is all about technology and kind of your journey with tech. I want to hear a story about maybe when your phone got in the way of an important moment. We all have them. Some of us are more brave than others and will actually admit them. So tell us about a moment where you just said, my phone is getting in the way of something that's more important.
Well, the hard thing is that when I think about that, truly, I think about what did I miss? I don't even know what I missed because I missed it. And so
Wow.
I struggle to even answer that because truthfully, I'm like, there probably are a lot of things that it got in the way of, but I didn't even know it. And so I think just realizing that, one time my son did say, you care about your phone, you care about the stuff on your phone more than us, which that's dagger to the heart. Right. And then, I've been talking to my husband about it, and he's like, there's a lot of things that I missed. And he admitted, he was like, I feel like that so often you have come to me and you've asked me and you've talking to me and you're telling me something really important and I'm just zoned out. And he's like, and I don't even realize it. And it's embarrassing. But, when I think about what I've missed with my phone, I can't tell you what I missed because I missed it. However, the things that I'm gaining now have been I do know what I'm gaining. And the other day we went to Wyoming for the day and I left my phone in the car, because now I can do that thanks to Aro. I didn't know I could do that before, but now I know I can. And I left my phone in the car and we were just exploring this. This sounds really weird, but in Wyoming, there's this, territorial prison. It's actually a park, but it was an old prison over 100 years ago. And they have all these old cabins on it and little houses, like Little House on the Prairie and a general store. And we were walking around and then there was this stage and my boys got up and they were doing a fake show, and ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to. And I thought for a moment, I want to take a picture of this. I want to take a picture, but I didn't have my phone. And so then I was like, I just want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it and remember it. And so I can't really tell you the things I missed because I missed them.
Yeah.
But the things I'm gaining are really awesome. So, but my phone has gotten in the way many times, I'm sure, because my son pointed it out so poignantly to me.
Yeah. Hey, those are very good. The truth serums. They'll give us exactly what we need.
Right.
I'd like to hear about maybe that why, what the why for getting Aro, and maybe even backing up a little bit more, just how you stumbled across Aro, and then your why. What was it that drove you to make that decision to say, okay, I'm in?
That's a layered question. I'll take a stab at it. So we have been pretty particular about what our oldest daughter, she's 16 now, but everyone started getting phones at 10, 11. And we really were pretty strict on that. We gave her a dumb phone, if you will. It's called a Gab phone. And it was great for us. We loved it. It really taught her like, hey, a phone is for texting and calling. And it allowed her some freedoms. However, still a little bit guarded. And honestly, when I started going down, I went kind of on a screen rampage a couple of months ago, just trying to figure out. Now she has a smartphone. She has an iPhone, and she got it for Christmas. She actually just got the permission to get one. She had to pay for it. But
oh wow, that's next
so
level.
her present was, here's your permission. You can get one now.
Love that.
So she has one, but I realized like I want to teach her healthy boundaries, but yet my husband and I don't have them. So like, how can we teach her healthy boundaries, but yet we're walking around not having them ourselves? And so my sister is a youth pastor in Silicon Valley, in like the tech of capital of the whole world, and where the people are making all of these things for us to become addicted to. And she has been on a huge screen kind of rampage as well. And so she has been sharing stuff with me. I started listening to anything that I could listen to, read about screen time and the damage of it and just the addiction of it. And so my husband and I have gone back and forth on like, do we just go dumb phone, and just have like a family phone for pictures? And we do live in a beautiful place with mountains, and we go on hikes and we're exploring. And so I want pictures, and we just kept being like, we couldn't pull the trigger on going just full dumb phone. Also, we live in Colorado, and I have siblings from the West Coast all the way to Virginia and the East Coast. My family covers every time zone. And so I need to be able to FaceTime our family. They need to be able to see our children. And so I don't want to miss out on things like that technology brings life to and brings good things. So in listening to some podcasts, I'd heard about the Aro, and I looked it up, and I was like, okay, like this seems like this could be a good, kind of solving a good piece to our puzzle of like some controlled screen time. I feel like, my why, when I think about like why and what led me to it, is that I feel like no one ever wakes up and says like, man, I wish I would have spent more time on my phone. Like that is not a quote you hear,
Right.
You don't ever hear that. But yet at night we would get our littles in bed, our 3 younger ones. And I felt like my husband and my daughter and I were like vegging out right at the end of the day. And yet we're all 3, I'd look around and we're all 3 on different screens. Like, so I just felt like I wanted our home to be different. I just want it to be different. I want the spirit and the feeling and people just feeling present. I want them to walk in and be like, man, like when we walk in Team Daniel's house, like they're present with us. And I feel like that it's easy to not be present when your phone is in arm's reach. It's just not, you're not able to be fully present. And I realized that when we moved into this house, it's our first house we've owned. We've lived in 14 homes in 14 years, something like that.
Wow.
From a camper to an apartment to a condo to a house to a 2-story house. And so I was like, oh, we have this house now. I'm going to put on our welcome table the Wi-Fi, right? Like, cause in that way they know, like, here's our Wi-Fi information with our password. So I'm going to help you get on your phone. What was that? So after listening to all these things and researching and being convicted, painfully convicted, I was like, I told my husband, I said, that's it. I'm taking down the Wi-Fi information. I'm not going to help people. I'm going to tell them they need to get off of it. So our Aro buck sits on our entryway, and I made up this little poem that's like, welcome to our home. And I won't bore you with it, but I like made a poem that's basically like, get off your phone. You came to our house.
That's amazing. I got to hear this poem though.
So I'll send it to you, but it's downstairs. And so I just was like, I don't want to encourage people. I want, I don't want to convict them. I want them to be convicted of themselves. But my why is I just want to be different. And I don't want to wake up and be like, what did we do? Because I'm going to miss it.
Has it, so since you've had Aro, in which Aro means to notice, has it felt different? What have you noticed in terms of your goal, which was I want it to be different? Has it felt different? And then if so, what have you noticed that's felt different?
It's felt very different. And I love that word means to notice, because it's actually it is painfully convicting. Like I said, like when you realize how often, I don't know if it was on a podcast that I heard you or one of the other screen ones, but 90% of adults keep their phone within arm's reach all day long. Like that just really got me, because you want to tell yourself like, I'm in the 10%. And maybe since this is this podcast, maybe people are in that 10%, but let's be real honest with ourselves. Like most of you aren't. You're in the 90.
Right, of course.
You can tell yourself that. And let's just be real clear. Like you notice when like, oh my goodness, I never go to the bathroom without my phone. I don't even do yard work. Like we were doing yard work and it was like 2 days after we got our Aro box and we put them in there because we're like, we're going to do this. We were outside doing yard work and I just felt more free, even just doing yard work. And like, normally I would feel like I need my phone in my back pocket. Like for what? Like what's going to happen while I'm doing yard work that I have to pay attention to on my phone? Yeah. So you just notice things like that like everyday stuff. I will say that one thing that we have noticed is all the other things we use our phone for that maybe we don't have to use it for. So we have had to buy some things that to help our journey with the Aro so that we can like be things that we've noticed that like, oh, we need an alarm clock now. Like a real alarm clock, right? And then we also noticed that like we use our phones for music a lot, but then that ends up distracting us and we can do other things. So we got an Alexa so that we could listen to music in the kitchen without having to pick up my phone. So I can leave my phone in the Aro, but we can listen to music while we're cooking or eating or whatever. Yeah. Because we listen to a lot of music. Homeschool families, you know, you got to keep it alive in here. And then my kids, there's this thing called a Yodo player. And so that's been kind of fun. They are able to listen to stories and music. And so in noticing how often we use our phones, we noticed it for those things as well. Pretty recently, my boy, the one that said the comment earlier, he just gets you. You know, I don't know if you can say ball buster on a podcast, but that is what he is. Okay, he's a ball buster. And he was out with my husband, and he was like, I noticed he's 6, you know, and he's like, I noticed that you and Mom and Finley haven't been on your phones as much, and he's like, that's pretty great. Just said it like that. That's pretty great.
Just unprompted
like,
said that.
Unprompted. Just when they were out going to like Home Depot, like just, you know, and it just, instead of the opposite where he had said that to me, a couple months back, he said that to my husband, and Nathan came home and shared that with me. And it was really great. And one other thing that I've noticed is, for those of you who don't know, but the Aro alerts you when people in your household have started a session. And so that can, you know, sometimes be like, oh man, I need to go start one too. Or if you're out, it even doesn't. And so one time I was out and I got a message that my teenage daughter, who was keeping my youngest baby at home, she was babysitting her sister. And I got a message that it said like, Finley has started an Aro session. And I thought, she's at home alone, and she put it in there. Wow. And I came home to find her in Oakley Bay, Finley and Oakley Bay, asleep in the hammock outside, no phone, and just cuddled up together. And I thought, you know, for a teenage girl who's 16 and a half, who could have had her phone out there, texting, whatever, looking at stuff, not being fully present with her baby sister, but she didn't. I mean, she didn't miss it. She was soaking up the moments. And that night she told us, she was like, Oakley Bay was just looking around, listening to the leaves and watching the leaves. And like, that is not what she would have noticed a while ago. So I can't even say all the things I'm noticing, because it's really brought, and I don't want to sound like really you're over dramatizing this, but like it really, I'm being honest when I say like, you notice the hard things, the painfully convicted things, but then you also notice these beautiful moments that you normally wouldn't have. So
that's beautiful. That really is. And it I really do. We believe it. When you change your relationship with your phone, you change your relationship with everyone around you. And look at Finley and Oakley Bay, sitting together on the hammock and taking a nap together. What an amazing scene that is.
Yeah. And talking about Finley, I will say that Finley said, she was like, you need to make sure that people know how good that box looks. She's like, it's very appealing.
Hey, we get to love her 16-year-old girl. That's pretty good. That's high praise.
for a 16-year-old girl who's very into aesthetically pleasing content, you know, for her to say like, I love the way the box looks.
I love that. And that's huge. Yeah. You don't display ugly things. You want to display pretty things.
Yeah.
Becca, I'd be curious just to close out, what kind of encouragement or advice would you give to other parents when it comes to phones and families? We're all struggling with it. So what kind of encouragement or advice would you give to other parents when it comes to this topic?
One thing that my husband and I have tried to do is if we are on our phones, either walk away so that it's not right in front of our kids, so they don't feel like they're getting, secondhand attention or whatever. But or tell them, hey, mommy's got to send this. It's about your birthday party, or mommy's got to text Nana and Pops because they're going to be landing at the airport soon, or whatever it is, so that they know that you're not just because truthfully, when you have the phone in your hand, whether it's adults or your children, they just see the phone in your hand. Yeah. They don't know if you're looking at Instagram or if you're like texting someone who's in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I think like just letting them know or walking away, going in a different location. Another thing that I have heard recently on all of my screen rampage thing, was to only have one screen at a time. So if you're watching a family movie or if you're doing whatever, just to do one screen. And that has really helped us out a lot. So at night, if we are watching something together, Finley and Nathan and I, we all put our phones in the box so that we're truly watching something together. And it is a community thing, not like you're watching it and I'm sitting here. So that one screen at a time has been really good for us. But my biggest thing would be to stay firm to your guidelines, your boundaries, your rules, whatever the word you want to use, with your children and screens. As you and your spouse decide what's best, or just you by yourself decide what's best. Nathan and I got a lot of flack from other parents and parents that were our friends about sometimes like when are you going to let her have a phone? And when are you going to doesn't she need to learn? And she's just going to, and I know what they were saying. However, we answer for our own children, our own family dynamic, not for other people's. And so if you're convicted about it, just let that conviction do its work and do something different, be different. Don't worry about what people think, because my other friend who has an Aro box, we're like, well, we might be each other's only friends here soon because people come to our house and we're like, put your phone up.
Exactly.
But again, we're trying to be present because no grown child is ever going to come back to you in life and say, hey, Mom and Dad, thanks for letting me escape. Thanks for always letting me be on my phone. No child is ever going to say that. They're going to come back and be like, it was annoying sometimes. When Finley brings a friend over and I'm like, y'all want to put your phones in the box? She's like, oh. But I know deep down she's actually grateful. So my advice would just be to just stick it out. Yeah. Stay with it. It's worth it.
Well, thank you for being different. And I have a feeling that your 4 kids are going to have different results than the natural current right now. And I'd put some money on Finley's future and on all the others because of what they're doing. You got to watch a 6-year-old too. That he sounds like a firecracker. But Becca, grateful for you. Thank you so much for the conversation. Thank you for what you're doing. And I hope this is an encouragement to a lot of people. So thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you for what you've created. It's a huge gift.